Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Melontosh here, back for the GPC Week 4, going up against JOQQ and his Dunfermlinoones. As you guys can see, if you guys did not see the team builder, the squad that I'm bringing is a Swords Dance Mimikyu, a defensive Blastoise, a Gothorita Spadef that can trap, a Nidoqueen, a defensive Nidoqueen, a Scarf Bulu, and a Swords Dance Sabulucha with the Grass Knot. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully that comes into effect in this match. As you guys can see on my opponent's team, he did decide to bring the Zygarde, the Infernape, the Quagsire, the Miltank, the Aerodactyl, the Scyther. So looking at this team, I expected a lot of the things. I could see why Scyther could come because it can Swords Dance up and maybe do stuff to Bulu. But I just thought Starmie was a way better bring for my opponent, if I was being completely honest. I really thought Starmie was the bring for my opponent. But he decided to opt with the Scyther, so there's obviously, like I just said, two sets going through my mind with that Scyther, being the Swords Dance set and a Scarfed set. I was thinking, I really actually wasn't sure which one was more likely. Scarfed was the first one that came to mind, as you guys are going to see in a while why that is the first one that comes into my mind. I mean, they both come into mind at team preview, but you guys will see. I'm getting ahead of myself. Zygarde, let's start. No, the next up is Mega Aerodactyl. Expecting this thing to probably be like a 3 attacks Roost, or potentially 2 attacks Hone Claws Roost, something like that. Offensive with the bulk to be able to outspeed my fastest thing with them with 252 Adamant with bulk. I don't know what's going on with my commentary right now. Next up is Miltank. Highly expecting this thing to be Sapsipper to take hits from my Tapu Bulu. And max defense to maybe take hits from Mimikyu as well. It could maybe, actually I didn't think of this in the match, but it could, looking at his team, be a Choppleberry user, but I'd be more likely inclined to believe it was that if he were not to bring the Quagsire. So next up is Quagsire. Definitely expecting this thing to be max Fizz Death, unaware to take hits from my Holucha. And even my Mimikyu to an extent, if he's not aware that Mimikyu does get Wood Hammer, which it does get, and I am packing. So next up is Zygarde, expecting this thing to be his Z-move user. Not sure what kind of prep he's going to bring for it, because I do have the Avalugg in the back. So I'm kind of expecting something funny. The reason I really don't think he's bringing Coil is because of Avalugg. Coil does not work against Avalugg whatsoever, really, or against the rest of my team. So I think DD is more likely, like DD, 1000 Arrows, Sludge Wave to take out the Bulu. Then maybe like Toxic. I could maybe see like a sub-toxic like a sub-toxic Protect 1000 Arrows Zygarde for my Avalugg, but that's very specific to Avalugg, and then Bulu completely walls it, kind of. So I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what to expect from the Zygarde, if I'm being honest, but I think I've got it covered. So looking at lead matchup, I do just want to get Rocks up here because I don't see his Starmie, and I don't think he's going to be packing the Defog on the Aerodactyl because I think he's going to want three moves, like Stone Edge, Earthquake, and Wing Attack, and then Roost. So I don't think he's going to be packing the Defog on that. So if I can get my Stealth Rocks up and potentially even my Toxic Spikes, that's going to be really, really useful for me. So let's go ahead and get on into the match as we're on slow. So I'm going to go ahead and lead with my Nidoqueen as he leads with the Scyther. And this is the thing I was talking about. I am expecting this thing to be Scarf now. That was my thought because he led with it. I'm thinking, okay, probably most likely going to be Scarf Scyther. As I'm going to go ahead and get my Rocks up, knowing this thing can't really touch me. As he goes out into the Aerodactyl here, and here I realize that it's really obvious for me to either go Bulu or into my Blastoise. So he's probably going to want to go for the Wing Attack, because also throughout the season I have been seen to go in to Bulu on ground types that can like KO Bulu, like Crook with Matt, and then pivot out into something else that can take the hit and takes the Earthquake really, really well, like my Nidoqueen. So I do think Wing Attack is a really obvious play here, and I know JOQQ is he's top of the division. He's a good player. So I am just going to stay in here and get my Toxic Spikes up. I can take the Earthquake as well fairly comfortably, but as you guys are going to see, he is going to go in for the Wing Attack, and that also confirms my suspicion that this thing is going to be very offensive. So now I'm just going to pivot out into my Blastoise, not really wanting to risk my Tapu Bulu at this stage. To be honest with you, as he just goes for the Earthquake, I can just freely go for a Scold here, so I know he's going to switch out, but he could actually stay in, so I'm going to go for a Toxic. My thoughts behind the Toxic there was actually he could go Scyther, But really thinking about it now, it really wasn't my best play. I had T-Spikes up and I had Stealth Rocks up, so why would I ever go into my Scyther? I could just Scald there was definitely the play. I would have got some damage off on this Quagsire as well. So let's was definitely my play. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Goth of Rita on the Quagsire, because if I can trap this thing, that is great. However, I didn't quite think my Toxic Spikes all the way through, because now this is going to be a bit of a stall war, because as you guys do know from the team builder, if you watched it, I've got Toxic on this thing so that I can 1v1 Quag and Miltank much easier without having to stall them out. But because of Toxic Spikes, it is going to be really quite stally, so that is unfortunate. But this is a war I win all the time, even if it goes down to PP without any crits or anything. It's a war I win all the time because I have the rest, so I miss 2 turns of PP every single time. So it's never something I ever lose, and I'm never going to put myself in crit range. And eventually I start off just going for Shadow Balls, thinking that, hey, I'm just going to weaken him down as much as I can. And as quickly as I can, but I get to a certain point where I realize, oh hey, he's actually letting himself get really quite low. So I'm actually just going to go for this Shadow Ball when he's in Shadow Ball crit range, and see if I can snag a crit at some point, because this is going to be a long haul. But looking at the rest of the team, after this Quag goes down, I'm feeling pretty good, because Holucha and Mimikyu now really put in work thanks to Unaware Quag not being there. So Holucha especially has the opportunity to really put in work against this thing, against this whole entire team. +2, it does a lot to Zygarde, takes out the Infernape, takes out the Miltank, can take out the Aerodactyl, especially after rocks, and takes out the Scyther. So we're looking pretty good there with Mimikyu. That is going with my Holucha, and this is going to be my win con, and if not, it will open the door for my Mimikyu. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and skip to turn 41, which is where I am going to get a crit on the Quagsire to be able to take it out, as he did let it get down to 19%. So now, after the Quag goes down, he's going to go out into his Miltank, and I am just going to stay in here, I believe. I think I'm just going to go for the rest, see if I can rest back up, as he goes for the Seismic Toss. So that's really great, because that means he's most likely not going to be bulk up, not bulk up, curse. So that's really cool for me. So I can go into my Tapu Bulu here, knowing that Superpower is going to 2-hit KO. I think his play here actually was to Milk Drink, but I could go out into my Lucha afterwards if I see he's just going to spam Milk Drink. But he ends up actually just going for the Seismic Toss, so I can now just stay in. I get my grassy terrain, which is basically leftovers, back, and I'm going to be able to get my Bulu to a pretty good health if he lets me take out the Miltank, which he's actually not going to do. He's going to go out into his Scyther here. So this is going to take absolutely nothing from the Superpower. I didn't calculate that, so I didn't see that it was Eviolite, which I believe it was. And I'm still thinking this thing is Scarf, so I'm just going to go ahead and get on out of here and go out to my Victoria, know I can take any hit. As he goes for the wing attack here, it does 31%, but thanks to Black Sludge and Leftovers, I'm going to be well out of range for this thing. So I'm just going to go for the P-Jab, as he's actually going to roost up, showing me that he is not Scarfed. So I'm just going to P-Jab here. Maybe I can snag a Poison or something, but I don't. I'm not too afraid of this thing setting up on me. I do have the Mimikyu, I can just come in and go for the Z move if I really have to. But it does pull a double out into the Aerodactyl now, so I'm just going to go for a P-Jab here. Maybe I can snag another Poison. It's not going to do a lot. Really wishing I was special right now, because he didn't bring the Raikou. But with the Grassy and Black Sludge, I am actually back at really good health with my Nidoqueen, 62%. So I'm going to go into my Blastoise here, and he reveals the Defog. Really was not expecting that right now. I'm going to fire for Scald. It's heavily in my favor to kill this thing. Cultural Wing Attack does good damage. It's heavily in my favor. I really need to kill this thing, but I don't get the roar, which is really annoying, because now Zygarde is looking like more of a threat, because I can't take 2,000 arrows, and that's really quite annoying, because I give it 1,000 arrow, take the Ice Beam, go for the Ice Beam, and do loads. But now I'm out of range, so he's now going to go out into his Infernape in case he decides to overpredict. Also, Blastoise is low enough to where Zygarde can take it out. It's not really doing much. I'm just going to stay in and go for a Scald. He's going to go for the CC. That's absolutely fine by me. Makes sense. It takes me out. I'm going to go into my Bulu, because if he's Scarfed, then he has to go for CC. It's going to do nothing. If he's not Scarfed, then I can take him out here. As you guys can see, I go for Stone Edge. So the reason I go for Stone Edge, Woodhammer would take him out. Now he's at minus defense, but I figured for sure he could go Miltank, because it has Sap Sipper, and I didn't really want that thing getting back up to full health. But think about it, he doesn't know that I'm Scarfed, but I really thought he was going to go Scyther. Knowing that it has Roost means it's probably going to be the SD variant, and he can SD up on this thing if he doesn't think I have Stone Edge. So I figured I could go for the Stone Edge and take out the Scyther, and that would be really good for me. I also thought that if he stayed in with the Infernape, that Stone Edge wouldn't do as much as it did. As you guys can see, it does a lot, and I figured that I could go into Holucha afterwards on the Flare Blitz, and then I could set up on the Infernape, because Infernape really can't do a lot to Holucha. I get an SD up, and I'd be in a really good spot. But now he's going to go into the Scyther, as I am going to go out into my Lucha. And here's the predicament for me, because Scyther is pretty much in Acrobatics range. There's a small chance that he that he does live, but I don't think he's going to be able to live this. So if I SD here and he goes for wing attack and he crits me, then I could lose. But if I just acrobatics here, keep my Holucha at full health, then I can actually SD on the Zygarde and go for an acrobatics, or I can acrobatics with damage to put it in, and so Mimikyu can win. So if I SD here, I have the chance to lose, but if I just go for acrobatics here, it ensures me the win. So I am just going to go for acrobatics here instead of SDing up, and I could have potentially got a 3-0 here, but he's going to live on 1, but he's not going to get the crit, so that's absolutely amazing. So now I can just go for another acrobatics here. I'm not in 1,000 arrows range from the Zygarde. Zygarde cannot take me out 1,000 arrows right now, so I am just going to go for acrobatics to ensure this thing goes in play rough range, so he can't play around my my Z move, which I'm going to go for just to ensure that I hit, but I mean, I still have a very high chance to win after that. So I'm going to go out to my Mimikyu now. He went for his Z move, so I know I'm 100% going to outspeed. I'm going to go for my Z move here. If he does pivot out into his Miltank, then I have to miss 2 play roughs in a row, which would be really unlucky for him to win. But we're going to go for the Let's Snuggle Forever. We're going to take it out, and then Miltank is going to come in, and Mimikyu is going to clean up this game in a long 57 turns, but most of it was stall. It was a good game. I'm sorry for the stall, JOQQ, but it is what I had to do. I didn't quite think the Toxic Spikes all the way through, if I'm being perfectly honest, but we are 2-2 at -6, and that is really good for us now, because we are back in the race basically, and it seems, this is without spoiling any results from past weeks, from the first few weeks, it seems everyone is beating everyone, so I'm definitely in the race at 2-2 right now. I think at the end of this week, lots of people will be 2-2. I think it's going to be the most desired. I'm going to be the bottom of the 2-2 because I went -10 in the first few weeks, which is what I'm talking about. I've got to keep winning because my differential is just not good enough. So next week we are going up against Gareth Pew Pew Pew. Me and him, we have some hexy matches, but we have some great matches. In my opinion, like some of the best league matches I've had, well, one in particular was against Gareth. But we've had 2, and both of them were pretty hacksy. I think I haxed him a little bit more than he haxed me, but I don't think either of the haxes were like completely game changing. I think it was more like it made it very hard for the person that got haxed to win. Especially my one, it really backed him into a corner. I think I still could have won our one had some other things gone differently, but like I said, I hacked him worse than he hacked me, so hopefully it'll be a fun Haxus one. It should be a really good game. I think we're really similar in the draft format in terms of play and prep. He's a very aggressive player, so hopefully I've got to take that into account. But that's going to be all from me today, guys. If you guys did enjoy today's video, please go ahead and smash that like button down below. But if you are feeling like an absolute legend, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. But other than that, I will smell you later.